Hello and welcome to round 3 of the 2025 Tour de Richmond, presented by MVP Disc Sports and Good Sports Discs. My name is Tim Eck.
And my name is Graham Jennings. Thank you for joining us at Bryan Park for round 3 of Tour de Richmond. We're going to be joined by Jay Keagy, Matt Graves, Kyle Lewis, and Ben Lengel. So we've got 3 locals on the card. Quick leaderboard check-in here. We've got Jay Keagy and Matt Graves tied up at -12, Kyle Lewis at -9, and Ben Lengel in the chase at -8.
Hole 1 at Bryan Park is a 299-foot par 3. Really, the players just want to throw something down here that sneaks through these trees, ends up somewhere in this dirt area where they've got a good look at the basket between these 2 trees. This is a great iconic starting hole for Bryan Park.
There's a few different ways you can chop this up. I see a lot of flex forehands for right-handed players. I see a lot of stable forehand or stable backhand discs with fairway drivers trying to skip around that V tree down there, and a lot of folks trying to play it straight and up the gut. Every now and then, some lefties even go out over the water. Keagy with his stable eagle on an early release. Let's see if he gets any good ground play. He's going to come up with about a 45-foot putt.
Matt Graves is up next. He's going to lean on that very accurate forehand that he's been using through the whole tournament. Looks like he's selected his truth. We've seen him do a lot of good work with this.
It's been in his bag for many years. It's pretty flippy, so he's going to put it out there, let it ride. Looks like it comes out a little earlier than anticipated, but he's still going to be inside of circle 1 for his putt.
Kyle opts just to throw a hex, and it holds the stability well enough to skip right into that dirt where you want it. Circle 1 putt.
A lot of flip on that. Kyle throws with a lot of power for sure. Ben Lengel going with a flippy 9 speed is very beaten in ESP Undertaker, trying to navigate that inside line. It's high, but it looks like it's got the shape on it. And the catch cam barely moved out of the way. Ask me how I know. And he lands in the shrubbery just behind the basket.
That is going to give him a pretty open putt, so hopefully he can convert that.
It all depends on how far he went in.
Yep. Looks like Jay ended up a little bit short, but it's definitely within his capability to hit this putt.
This would be a strong statement to start off round 3 for sure.
Oh, taps it off the basket. It settles down right behind it, so should be a fairly routine tap in for par.
A good bid.
Here's Gravy's luck, and he converts. Great putt by Gravy.
That's one of those great confidence builders to hit early in the round on the final day of a tournament, for sure. Ben Lengel back a little bit further than he would like, and unfortunately unable to convert. Just a little bit soft, probably due to the massive amount of obstruction back there. You definitely don't want to go long on this green.
Kyle spins in his birdie. Great drive, great putt.
Yep. Another confidence builder on hole 1 for one of the locals, Kyle Lewis. Keagy finds the basket after the errant putt, not too far away. He'll be able to shake that off.
And Ben can tap in his.
Hole 1 was the 5th hardest hole on the day, averaging .04 strokes under par, as we head into hole 2, which is a 322-foot par 3. There is an inside option here, and there is a safety mando on the right-hand side preventing the right-hand hyzer. You can throw a flip up. A lot of players go mid-range or maybe a straight fairway driver, or the more common play is to go out to the left and crash into the right with either a forehand or a turnover backhand drive.
Matt Graves is going to lean on his Pathfinder here. Gets it turned over nicely. He is going up the center, and it fades out a little early, so he's going to have a very long putt to try and clean up.
Kyle going Halo Destroyer here, playing for the finish, calling for it to get down, and it does. And he gets a skip, and unfortunately he'll be pretty obstructed on circle one's edge behind the basket. Keagy opting for the forehand as well.
Going with his DD3. Gets that out nicely to the left, and it's fading back towards the basket pretty well.
Right on time.
Yeah,
that's a tap-in birdie for Keagy. The forehand, if you have it, is definitely the more popular shot on this hole because you can just point it up at that tree that's about 280 and then just let the disc crash into the green.
Ben follows suit with a nuke. Gets a nice little skip. It does check up before the greenery that's behind the basket, so he'll have a short putt.
Gravy from circle 2. He's good for it.
Wow, that is an incredible putt. Yeah, run that in.
Statement putt. Matter of fact, let's see that one more time with our radiant rollback. Gravy from deep circle 2 with a confident stroke. Right side, and it trickles into the basket. Great putt from Matt Graves.
Yeah, he's definitely out to set a statement here today.
Let's see if Kyle can find a window from a little bit long on the drive. Opts to pitch out. Probably didn't have anything worth running. Smart play.
Yeah. It's definitely a tough decision to make when you see people hitting putts like what Matt just hit, but I think that's definitely the best option there.
Lengel for birdie from 15. He's good for it right in the heart. Kyle cleans up his par. Hole 2 played as the 9th hardest hole on the day, averaging .38 strokes under par. Jay Keagy showing us why, because he's right there. Great tap in and great drive from Jay Keagy.
Hole 3 is a 435-foot par 3. This is definitely one of the harder par 3s on the course, playing across the side of this hill. If you have a disc fade out too early, you can go very far down the hill and, have a tough upshot to come back to the basket.
Should be seeing everybody on this lead card attack. Gravy with a nice angle out of the hand.
Yeah, make sure to throw up the hill, kind of let the fade of the disc carry him back down to the basket, and you can see how good the result is for him.
Tap in for Graves. Jay Keagy hoping to follow suit. I think that's his beat-in Wraith, so same disc choice as Matt Graves, just in a slightly less stable plastic. Let's see if he can follow. A little more driven and inside, calling for it to go right. Starts to fade, and that's the thing about this green is there is a pretty severe downhill slope on the left-hand side, so if you release even slightly early or if you throw something too stable, you can have a pretty daunting uphill approach pretty quickly. Lengel opting for the forehand definitely takes that downhill out of play, but it's a little bit tougher to get off the tee.
He got beautiful turn on it, but unfortunately catches a tree and gets knocked down early.
Yeah, just a hair overturned for what he would have liked. You do have to navigate those trees on the left-hand side a little more for lefty backhands and righty forehands.
Kyle opts just to throw a destroyer low and hard. Gets good distance out of it. Does come up a little short, but definitely in range to still put something in.
Lengel left with a routine approach, and he puts it close. Lewis showing no fear as he putts from circle 2 and just comes up a hair short, hitting center cage.
So Jay going uphill here. Looks like he's circle's edge or maybe a tiny bit outside.
Hopefully not having flashbacks from his iconic roll away from last year, but he puts it over the basket to secure the 3. Lengel cleans up his 3. Matt Grace cleans up the very clean drive for a great birdie. Hole 3 played as the 4th hardest hole on the day, averaging .04 strokes under par. And a good putt from Jay Keagy to clean up the par. As we head into our first par 4 of the day in hole 4. Hole 4 is a 615-foot downhill par 4. There are quite a few ways you can chop this up. There's a right-hand gap that can hyzer to a relatively easy approach. You can try to play under the trees on the drone's path that we just flew, or you can try and get aggressive with a roller. Looks like Gravy was trying to lay down the roller here, and he does, but it looks like it's on a little too much cut, heading towards the shul, but he stays just short of it for a pretty A1 position to approach for birdie.
Yeah, that was a great result for that roller. Jay's just pushing things straight down the middle and does catch a couple branches, but it's not going to hurt him. Ends up in a little bit of shul that's in the middle of the fairway. I don't think that's really going to prevent him from being able to get up to the basket on his next shot.
Absolutely not. He's only got about 120 in from there. Lengel opting for the forehand. Looks a hair high. He's going to have to get lucky through these branches, and he does not. It kicks straight down, but he'll have a pretty routine approach from that position. He's in the center of the fairway.
Kyle's going to pick up that destroyer he used last hole.
And on hole 2.
Real hard. This one is a roller.
Kyle Lewis can do amazing things with that blue-rimmed Halo Destroyer. And you'll see the Halo Destroyer counter is already up to 3 for Kyle Lewis, and it's going to get a little higher by the end of the day. Lengel with a beautiful flex forehand. Comes in a little bit long, but he stays out of the crap, and he'll have a circle 1 putt for his birdie.
Kyle's throwing a nice little forehand chip. Puts it right up next to the basket. Easy birdie coming up for him.
Matt Graves with the best drive of the bunch, looking right at it.
Just using his trusty A5.
A little soft out of his hand, probably would have liked to have been a little closer, but he shouldn't have any issue from that range. Keagy with slightly more distance, but a few more obstacles, but he chips it nice and close.
It's Ben coming back for his birdie.
Keeping himself in the chase with a great putt.
Matt's going for his 4th birdie in a row and a very hot start to the round. No problem.
4 for 4 start for Matt Graves. As Jay taps in his birdie, hole 4 played as the 5th easiest hole on the day at .54 strokes under par. Great star frame from the guys.
Hole 5 is 297 foot uphill. there's a gap to hit off the center, the two trees that the drone is flying through. But this is a very uphill hole from this tee pad.
Gravy with an early release there.
Matt catches one of the first trees you can hit, unfortunately, so he'll be playing for par on this one.
Sometimes the pressure of a hot start like that can surmount around hole 5, hole 6, so happens to the best of us. Let's see if Jay can correct. Inside, but good turn on it, and it's going to slide up into circle 1.
Yep.
Lengel's going to opt for the forehand, so his finish goes into the hill rather than away from it. Hoping for a nice drifting shot that gets through that gap and then finishes right back towards the basket. It's got good
Pretty
turn.
good. Yep. He's a little lower on the hill than Jay looked to be, but still definitely in putting range. Kyle throwing something that's pretty understable for him, going straight up the hill. Never gets a chance to fade back, but he's up above the basket, putting back down at it. Matt throws a forehand approach, gets himself up into the circle, hopefully to save his par.
Kyle, a nervy putt from circle's edge.
Just a little low.
Better than the alternative. Could have definitely gone all the way down the hill, so happy to see him hit the basket.
Yeah. Matt drops his par in. Not too much drama there. So, ends the birdie streak, but still doesn't change how good the round start is for him.
Keagy to find momentum on the 5th. Great putt after a great drive. He'll convert for the 2. Lengel with a similar putt. A little high, but falls into the basket. Hole 6. Well, this is hole 5, and hole 5 played as the 6th hardest hole on the day, averaging 0.15 strokes under par.
Hole 6 is a 355-foot par 3. We're throwing from a high elevation across a small gully and to a basket that's about the same height, tucked under a tree with some low branches. It's definitely challenging to get across to it, but we'll see these guys really attack this hole.
This hole has a few options. You can play directly up the gut. You can throw a righty flex shot that fades in on that right-hand side, finishing to the left, or you can opt for the forehand on the left-hand side. Jay, unfortunately, with an early release, just calling for it to settle down, and he'll have a routine approach from about 100 feet away. Lengel looking like he's going to show us that forehand line around the left side. It's pretty open over there, but there is some trouble. There are some branches you need to navigate, as well as some stuff on the early left that if you pull it too wide, will get you into trouble. There is also a little bit of fear of pushing too long on the backhand side.
Ben actually keeps this nice and low, gets around the branches, gets some decent ground play.
Circle 2 look for Lengel. Matt hoping to bounce back after the par on 5.
He's also opting to go forehand with his Wraith. Goes a little bit higher. Looks like he's pushed it a little bit further than what Ben did. And, well, we can see how close he is to the catch cam. That's definitely going to be a great putt. Kyle's back to his trusty destroyer.
Halo Destroyer counter number 4 for Kyle Lewis. Puts him to circle 2.
Jay with a long bid for the birdie.
And a confident run from range finds the chains. Great putt for Keagy, putting together a turkey.
Yeah. I think we should definitely take another look at that with a radiant rollback.
Great call. No fear as he runs it slightly uphill into the heart of the chains.
Beautiful putt, Jay.
His jumper's a weapon. No surprise to see him lean on it here. Happy to see him convert. Lewis to match from slightly inside Keagy's line. Great putt.
And this is a great putt as well. I think we can take a look at this one too.
Double radiant rollback? I'm here for it. Let's see that one more time. Starting to leak, but the basket caught it and the chains helped. Great putt by Kyle Lewis.
Bend to match. Just a little low. So he'll have to settle for a par here.
Tough to commit. Those branches do come into play, so it's tough to keep the putt low enough.
Matt is able to clean up his birdie though and keep himself that one stroke ahead of Jay for now.
Yeah, he's able to fight it off so far. Lengel with the lone par. Hole 6 played as the 10th hardest hole, averaging 0.42 strokes under par. Now we'll head to hole 7. Hole 7 is a 238-foot par 3. Most players are going to opt for the righty backhand line. Following the drone flight here, you want to come just inside of that tree on your right and fade and get some nice ground action towards the basket. A lot of guys are hoping to ace run this most of the time as well. Most players are going to opt for an overstable approach disc, just like Jay Keagy does with his own here. Nice angle. And it finishes well inside of circle 1 for what should be a routine birdie for Jay Keagy. Looks like Gravy's going with his A2, another overstable approach disc. Hoping to follow Jay Keagy's line. Looks a little wider out of the hand, but the shape is similar. Unfortunately, he does find that one tree on the right-hand side, leaving him somewhere in the middle of circle 2 for his putt. Kyle kicking it up in speed here, probably hoping for a little ground play. But the Crystal Raptor comes in a little inside, but still checks up nicely, and he'll have a circle 1 look for birdie. Lengel weighing his options, but ultimately chooses to throw the wasp here, so discing up just a little bit from the first 2 drives to a mid-range.
Gets it out. You can tell it's not fading quite as hard as a driver does, but gets him nice and close to the basket.
Graves with another circle 2 look.
Leaves it just a little high, taps off the top of the basket, and that means it glides a little past.
Kyle with an unfortunate error on the putting green here. Good bounce back. Those things happen to all of us, but it's good to see Kyle return to form quickly. Lengel finds the birdie from straddle putt right around that tree there. Hole 7 played as the 12th hardest hole on the day, averaging 0.5 strokes under par. As Matt Graves comes back for par here.
No problem.
Finally, we get to Jay's drive, closest to the bunch. Just about 10 feet. Great putt, 4 for 4 for Jay.
And that brings him even with Matt.
Tie ball game at the top by 2 of the local legends. Hole 8 is a 570-foot par 4. You're going to play slightly uphill off the drive, and you want to land somewhere in this region, ideally, to not bring that tree in the right into play. Then you'll have a routine upshot into this green. You just got to navigate not hitting the telephone pole or the tree on the right. Some of these guys are definitely looking to get past the landing zone we talked about, as they have notoriously big arms. So let's see how far they choose to go off the tee, or if they're going to stick with their tournament game plans and take a routine birdie.
Jay's leaning on that Stark Corvette. We've seen him throw for a few long shots here. He gets some nice flip out of it. It's pushing a little high. Might be playing with some branches. Yeah, and unfortunately drops down. Now, where he's at is definitely still very attackable to get to the green. So it's not too much of a setback if you do get caught by those trees.
For sure. This hole is not very punishing if you choose to try and go big. Lengel with a forehand. Good turn, and it looks like he's managing that ceiling a little better than Keagy. With a little bit of luck, and he pushes up right to the catch cam and turns us around.
Yeah, up next to that big bushy tree that you can barely see from here. That is very close to the basket, and probably just a putter approach.
Gravy, probably an earlier release than he wanted, but somehow, some way, his disc just chooses to hover over that branch under that tree, and he'll have a nice, easy approach for birdie. The Halo Star Destroyer counter has ticked up to number 5 for Kyle Lewis. Unfortunately, this time it turns a little bit too much, and he'll have a tough approach from the bottom of that hill, or not getting all the way up the top.
Jay's throwing a hyzer around, trying to come back in. Stays a little wider than I think he wanted, but he does have a long putt.
Lewis going to the outside of the Guardian tree, and it checks up to circle 1. Looks like Lengel's close enough to go with the zone here, and he'll put that into tap-in range for a birdie.
And Matt wasting no time. Looked like that was a putter, or maybe his A5, just throwing it up under the basket.
That was his spore, 100%, and he's usually pretty darn deadly with that thing. A great putt from Circle's Edge by Jay Keagy for the birdie. Kyle to recover the putting injuries on hole 7. Great job. Hole 8 played as the 13th hardest hole, averaging 0.54 strokes under par. And our lead car showing you how it's done with a beautiful star frame.
Hole 9, 485 feet, par 3. This is a very, very distance-heavy hole. Players want to throw a shot that can push through these trees and get up close to this basket. All these guys have the distance to get there. Let's see how they do.
This hole is a pretty rare birdie for a lot of folks, and it's worth noting that Keagy is a local legend because he has actually aced this hole with witnesses. Not during tournament play, but needless to say, an amazing ace nonetheless. He comes up to circle 2. Lengel opting for the forehand. Looks like it's fading out a little earlier than he would have liked. And he'll have a circle 2 look that's partially obstructed from down there. Matt Graves goes to his trusty Halo Wraith. Doesn't get the turn he was looking for on it, and it's going to fade out early. And he'll definitely have a fun approach from there. Kyle's Halo Destroyer counter goes up to number 6, and he'll be in a similar spot to Matt Graves with an approach to a challenging green. Matt Graves opts to the putter so that it checks up nice and soft, and he has a stress-free 3.
And Kyle does similar, just throwing a nice little spinny putt. Make sure that you've got a putt on the in the circle for that hole. Going a little too long definitely brings in a hill and hole 1's fairway, and it is not fun to have to throw back up to the basket.
As we see Lengel throw his approach there, Keagy lines up the circle 2 look for birdie.
Just taps off the side of the basket and rolls over to the tree, which is no more than 15 feet away from the basket, so he'll still be able to get the par.
As these guys tap in their pars, it's worth noting birdies by Lucas Wright, Quentin Mabin, and MA1 player Jacob Stoner. Congratulations on pretty epic birdies for the day. Also, as these guys tap out, you may have noticed a large down tree behind Ben Lengel. This course got ravaged by a rough summer storm in between rounds 1 and 2, or days 1 and 2, and there were a lot of trees down. Thankfully, not any that were affecting play. So we were spared for the most part, and thank you to those who chopped the trees down on 18's walkway so we could all get around the course. Oh wait, we did that, Tim. All right, let's check in with our leaderboard here. We've got Keagy and Matt Graves tied at the top with a 5-stroke lead over the rest of the field, and the top 10 are pretty spread out here.
I'd like to take a moment to thank our event sponsors who helped make this event possible. In particular, Radiant Home Services. Corey and Mary have been out and supporting Richmond Disc Golf this weekend, and we really appreciate them and all of our other sponsors for this event.
And we appreciate you. Thank you so much for watching, and we hope you'll catch us for Round 3 Back 9 coverage of the Tour de Richmond presented by MVP Disc Sports and Good Sports Discs. See you on the Back 9.